everybody, it's K9 with ETH Tactical and Survival, and today I got another video for you. I've had a lot of people message me through email and through personal message that they want to do a bug out bag. They just don't know how or what needs to be in it. So today we're going to walk you through of some of the basic necessities that you need in a bug out bag, what a bug out bag is and what it's for, and then some additional items that always come in handy. So stay tuned and I'll show you exactly what and what's in a bug out bag.
Making a bug out bag is so easy, even we can do it.
Alright, so you decided that you want to do a bug out bag, aka B.O.B. For y'all that don't know what a bug out bag is, I'll explain to you briefly. Basically, a bug out bag, or B.O.B, is some type of bag that carries supplies for survival and sustainment in case of an emergency, if SHTF happens, whatever it may be, but it's a bag with supplies that is able to be gained at any moment's notice. Whether it's an emergency disaster, whether it's, as some believe, the economic downfall, the martial law, or if it's just for camping. It doesn't have to always be for an emergency situation. But they come in all shapes and sizes, and as long as they hold what you need and are easy accessible and easy to carry, that's all that matters. I've seen it from all different types of colors to different types of camouflage. I personally would rather have the camouflage. The reason why is because if I have to leave my bag somewhere, whether it's an urban environment, desert environment, or the woodland environment, I can leave it, put some of that natural debris on top of it, and it blends in perfectly, so when I come back, it's still there untouched. Now, in this particular case, this is my main bug out bag. This is a military rucksack. It is military issued, ACU. It comes with multiple pouches in the front. It is very durable with heavy straps in the back, plus a chest plate and a kidney strap. All helps control that balance as I'm carrying it. Now, you don't have to have as much stuff as what I'm going to show you. I like to be prepared for anything, but I'm going to show you the basic essentials for sure. Now, on your bug out bag, this particular one I got off of eBay. I paid about $35 to $40. I got lucky because the one that was issued to me, I've already worn and torn, and you know, they were made to be beat up and then replaced. This particular one I love because it is weatherproof and waterproof. It has a lining inside that I can seal off to help keep my belongings dry if I have to, say, cross a river or a lake, stream, whatever it may be. I don't have to worry about my supplies getting wet. This particular one here, I've seen people use. Now this particular one is my medical bag, so that's what I use it for, but I have seen bug out bags as simple as something like this. Now there's some things that I always like to keep on the outside. If you can get a bug out bag that, say, has the mole system with the little stitching loops, that's great because you can add extra pouches, you can hang whatever you want on it. But one thing I always have to have is, one, safety glasses. I have to have them up close because if I have to climb somewhere, say up a cliff or whatever, I don't have to worry about the rocks and debris getting in my face and then just making a situation turn horribly wrong. Now, one thing I recommend everybody getting, I love these things, is a 3-way power flashlight. It clips on and it has your additional battery, your typical battery source, but it also has a hand crank in order to generate power. And let's say I just don't feel like cranking. If I set it out in the sun, it's got a solar panel. So either way, I'm always going to have power to this light. Excellent source, stays on my bag, never comes off so I don't lose it. Another thing is I like to take some type of camping, hunting, or tactical knife that I keep attached to my bag. So no matter what, I've always got something with me. And again, these bags can be stored in your car, so you can grab at a moment's notice. at your house as a part of your emergency reaction plan, or just for camping. And if you're at work a lot, keep one at your job. You can never have too many bug out bags. You can never have too many supplies, because you can never be too prepared. So, now that we got this out of the way, let's actually dive inside and let me show you what we have. Alright, diving into the bug out bag, or B.O.B, I want to start off with the big items first, and then we'll work our way around to the different items. The first thing you want to make sure that you have is something to sleep in or on. I prefer a sleeping bag because I can open it, I can close it. There's a lot of things I can do with it. If you don't want to carry a sleeping bag, because some of them do tend to get pretty bulky, a sleeping mat will work just fine. But make sure you have something to lay on. A lot of people just do sleeping mats. As long as you're off the ground, off the elements. The reason why I also choose a sleeping bag is because, let's say you're having to bug out during winter. You want something that will keep you warm. And again, if you're doing it for that reason, you need to look at what the rating is on that particular sleeping bag. Some of them are made for summer, some of them are made for winter, some of them are made for Arctic. So depending where you're at, how your winters are, then determine that based upon the sleeping bag that you get. Okay? The second one is once I have a shelter, whether it's handmade, whether it's using emergency blankets, or for those that have like the pop-up tents or the eccentric tents, one thing I always like is having a mosquito netting. I've had situations where I've had to sleep just on the ground and a emergency blanket. Mosquitoes and bugs were killing me because it's open on one side. So I got this, and it actually covers the whole entire top on both sides and on the bottom. And for those that like to not sleep on the ground but hang a hammock and sleep in that, this will cover that hammock plus the space on the ground. So it's an excellent source of protection from the bugs. Now, anytime you do a bug out bag, you've always got to consider the fact that you might be in the elements. You might have to get wet. You might have to get dirty. So it's always good to have a change of clothes. The last thing you want to do is be stuck for 72 plus hours wearing the same dingy, dirty clothes, especially if they're soaking wet. You can get sick, you can chafe, get rashes. There's a lot of things that could go bad by not having a change of clothes. So change your clothes, change your socks, and change your underwear. What you decide to change into, that's your prerogative. Now, being I might be exposed to the elements, or I might be traveling at a high rate of speed, I always keep my knee pads and elbow pads. It's not a necessity. However, I do it so no matter what, I'm covered with my bases. Another thing is a poncho. This particular one is a military issue ACU poncho. And these are great because not only will it keep you dry in the rainy times, but it will also make an excellent quick pop-up shelter. I'll do a couple of videos here in the future on how to make different types of shelters with emergency blankets, the underbrush around you, and with these ponchos. It doesn't have to be this elaborate, but make sure you have a poncho with a hood. And then also, I keep trash bags. Now you're probably wondering, why do you need trash bags? Well, one, if I've got any trash and debris, this is still my planet. I'm going to take care of it. Okay, so I'm not just going to throw all my junk around. Two, if I need to keep something dry, if I have to walk through water, especially if it's deep, then I would put it in a trash bag to help keep it warm. I can use these as, open it up and use it as a quick shelter from the rain. There's a lot of reasons why I can use those trash bags. So about 4 or 5 rolled up and taped off, that's usually all I really need. And then last but not least on the big items is always carry this, what they call a 3D mossy oak blind. This is mainly used for hunting. However, if I'm having to conceal myself and I don't have a lot of time to do a real elaborate setup with the underbrush, if I'm using, say, an emergency type shelter, then I can put this around my particular shelter to at least give me a little bit more concealment, especially at night. So it's always good to have. If I have to leave my gear somewhere and there's really not a lot of underbrush available, then I can actually use this as well. It's not a guarantee, but it's better to have and not need it than need it and not have it. So that's the big stuff that you'll have in your bug out bag. Everything else goes smaller from here. So let's continue and see what else we got. Alright, now we're going to dive into the essentials. The primary reason of a bug out bag is, again, to survive and sustain. So the meat and potatoes of your bug out bag or your B.O.B is your food and water. An average person can go 7 days without food, but can only go a couple of days without water. If you're in a hot, humid climate, or if you're doing a whole lot of moving, then that number of days is going to diminish quite a bit. So it's always recommended to at least start with 2 or 3 bottles of water. That way you can get to where you're going and find an additional water source. Having this water bottle is very crucial. Some people, if they don't want to carry water bottles, you can carry canteens, you can carry larger water bottles, whatever the case may be. Just make sure you have water. Now, let's say you're getting low on water and you found a water source, whether it's a stream, a pond, whatever, and you need water. Please, for the love of God, do not go out there and just dip your face in or dip your hands up and start drinking that water. That water is full of bacteria, it's full of fungus, it's full of a lot of things that can hurt you. Even the pure springs that they say, oh, we get pure water out of, it's still filtered, people. You still need to get it cleaned. The way you do that is two ways. Now, some people will use what they call an emergency straw. It already has a filter built into it, and it will filter out majority of that bacteria and the bad minerals that is within that water. That's okay to have. But let's say you don't have that. Then what you need to do is to be able to take that water and purify it. The first step is to boil it. This is very crucial. Do not forget this. You have to boil your water before you can drink it. So I recommend having a cooking set just like this with pots and pans. They're very cheap to have. This one comes with a plate, a pot, a pan, and a skillet, including a lid, plus a drinking cup, all into that little compact deal right here. Take your pot, put your water in it, and boil it. I'll do a video later on boiling and processing your water from dirty water. And then I'll have some other videos on taking stuff around your household that you can use to help filter your water if you don't always have that ability to boil your water. But if you're out in the wilderness, boil your water. And always carry these. These are little jars of drinking tablets. They're water purification tablets. Drop a couple of these in there after you boiled it. It does an additional purifying of the water and allows you to be able to drink. And I cannot stress, I will say it over and over again, do not forget to boil your water. Okay? I don't want everybody going out just thinking they could drink it up or throw a few tablets and it's good as gold. It's not. You have to purify it. It's very important. Now, so that covers your water, but you have to eat too. And there's so many different things that you can do. Obviously, when you're first bugging out, you're not going to have a lot of option on what you can eat. You're not going to be able to just immediately go out there and start hunting or scavenging. So what you want to have is stuff already in your bug out bag, ready and easily accessible to eat. Now, I recommend getting a couple of these right here. You can find them in the camping sections over at Walmart or any camping store or sporting goods store. And these are pre-processed food. A lot of them, all you have to do is add hot water to them or just heat them up. They're an excellent source of nutrients and vitamins, and they come in so many different flavors They have breakfast, dinner, dessert, all different types. But you need something when you decide what to choose, something that's going to give you energy and give you the nutrients and vitamins that you need in order to continue on. Now, if you can't get this, one thing I always recommend is the ration tablets. It's recommended if you don't have these, then you at least have 3 blocks like this of the ration tablets. They come in all different types of flavors, and they're just little blocks, but they cover all the nutrients and vitamins, and they have different calorie counts on them. So that way, you know, okay, I need so many blocks a day in order to sustain myself. Okay? Make sure you have that. Now, for me, I like to be able to cook on the go if I have to. And I'm not always going to be able to start a fire. So, I picked up this right here, which is a Coleman butane and propane tank. It's resealable. I paid like $3 or $4 for this right here. And I love it because I can use it just what I need and then shut it off, and it will still stay sealed until I need it again. And then simply get a little kit like this that has your top mounts for your particular tank. That way I can set my pots and pans on it and be able to cook without actually having to start a fire. Again, this is not something if you're trying to last a long period, but it will get you until you are in a location or situation where you can start a fire and so forth. Now, another great option that I do just by choice, it's cheap, it's real easy, is I make my own homemade jerky and I dehydrate all my fruits and vegetables. That way I can be on the go. They're real compact, especially once you put them in the vacuum sealed bags. They last a long time, and I can just pop as I go to keep that energy and nutrients going. Now let's say you don't have time to actually stop and eat. You're feeling a little way down, you're starting to get tired, but you got to keep going. It's always great to get you some hard candy. Hard candy gives you the sugar that you need for the energy. Now these particular hard candies here actually have a little bit of caffeine in there, and they also come with certain vitamins that has been placed inside that hard candy. That way I can still maintain my energy and still maintain my health as well, and it helps me keep going if I'm having to go from point A to point B in a short period of time. Now, what do you do in order to eat it? I don't expect me and my family to eat like cavemen and go straight with our hands. So what I did is anytime I go to Walmart, or I can go especially to McDonald's or Wendy's, I always pick up these little plasticware that's sealed in a bag to help keep it sanitary. And I pack a couple of those so that way I can eat, and when I'm done with it I can just dispose of it. I don't have to wash it. Now you can get actual camping silverware. The problem is you're going to have to make sure that you clean it after each time, so that way the food doesn't get caked on, and then you can get bacteria and other illnesses from eating that food still on that silverware. Now, one thing I also do to help me with energy, sometimes to, if I'm, say, out camping or I'm at an FTX training and it's where I've had to stay the night, I've had my shelter. Next morning I'm kind of groggy because I've been booking it all day going from point A to point B. I love these things right here because they're coffee. And granted it's made for a particular type of machine, but the coffee is still good. In a future video I'm going to actually show you how to take items from your bug out bag or your home to filter coffee if you don't have coffee filters with you. But these are small and compact and easy to carry. Now, a lot of people don't like these. Vienna sausage. I used to hate them. Now I actually enjoy them. But they're an excellent source of quick meals that doesn't take a lot of room and easy to go. Right now they're about 50 cents a can. And then sometimes water is just, I've been drinking water all day. I need something different. So I always throw these little hot chocolate packs in there. Gives me extra sugar. But it's something else to drink takes up hardly any room at all. And then last but not least, make sure you have matches if you have to start a fire or in order to start the flame on this particular butane. I carry at least 2 lighters within my bug out bag, one on me, but I always keep a bag of waterproof matches. The reason why I say waterproof is because if you get regular matches and the slightest bit of moisture or straight wet gets on it, you're not going to be able to use them. They're ruined. Waterproof, I can dip it in water and still be able to light it good as new. So carry at least a pack of these. I usually buy it in a big box, so that way I have plenty to separate between multiple bags. Just put a few of them in a Ziploc baggie, seal it up, you're good to go. So that covers the meat and potatoes of the bug out bag. Let's go ahead and jump into the survival. All the things that you need in order to survive and stay safe. Alright everybody, now we're getting into the safety and survival part of your bug out bag. It is very crucial that when you're using your bug out bag, for whatever reason it might be, that you keep in mind your safety and preservation. So getting into this, the first thing that you're going to need is communication. You want communication with the outside world. You want communications with family members or other groups within your agency, with your buddies, whatever it may be. Communication is the key. Now this right here is the B.O.B phone 8880. It's about $15 and it has about a radius of 2.5 miles. I like this particular one because it's light. It has different attachments with it. You can change out the antenna to a larger one to get more range. But I like it because one, it has a flashlight on it that has a solid beam, or you can have it flash to either notify people within your group where you're at, or to help other people looking for you. Let's say if you went camping and got lost, it helps them be able to find you. It's a real bright LED light. Now other ways of communication would be a crank or solar radio, so you're still able to listen to the news forecast, whatever it may be, on a radio station. The next thing is rope. Now I carry 2 different types of rope with me. One I'm not putting up on the table just because it's a pain in the butt to put back, and that is a strong nylon safety rope. One that can hold up a person's weight in case you have to climb, in case you have to rappel, in case you have to hang something heavy from a tree to prevent thieves or wildlife from getting it. Now this particular rope is 100 feet of 550 paracord. It's very strong. There's so many uses that you can do with it, whether it's using it to aid in a medical treatment, to help put up an emergency shelter, to hanging stuff, again to prevent thieves and different wildlife from getting into your items. It is crucial that you have some type of rope, and the 550 paracord is, 1, it's cheap, and 2, with the strength and everything, it's really not bulky. It doesn't take up a lot of room. Now another thing is some people want to do a B.O.B or bug out bag for their car only, for car emergencies. So in every single one of my vehicles I have an emergency tool. Now this particular tool has a flashlight at the bottom so I can see. It has it's basically a hole punch for your airbag, just that slides in and out. It's got a cutter for your seatbelt and a window breaker. These are excellent to have, especially if your bug out is for vehicle emergencies. Now I always recommend to have some type of covering for your face, a bandana, a mask or whatever, especially if you're out in the desert, you have sandstorms. If you're out in an area that's just around toxic fumes, then you need something to at least protect your face. Also to protect your face from the sun when you're out and about, so you don't get that dry, crackled lips and your face just blister up. Now another thing to use in a bug out bag for any different situation or your vehicle is flares. I paid about $4 to get 2 of these red flares over at Walmart. And these are excellent because one, they give you a great source of light. When I was exploring different caves up in the mountains, this gave a lot of light. You've seen in the movies where people have opened these and then dropped them down to see how far a hole is. They produce a lot of light, they produce a lot of heat. So you can actually use this to help start a fire, whether it's to signal or to start a fire for warmth and for cooking your food. So for the price of it, it burns a long time. It's excellent to have in your bug out bag. Now, one thing I believe in is, and I mentioned it earlier, is using emergency blankets for shelter. You can use them for shelter, you can use them to keep you warm, you can use them to signal people if you're lost. Now, always keep at least 2 of these. I got 5 of them for $1.50. They're not expensive at all. They're really great to keep. And let's say you're with your family and one of y'all experience a traumatic injury. You start to go into shock. Using the emergency rescue blanket or survival blanket is a great way to help cut down on that shock. Now, another thing I also put in there is an emergency blanket style sleeping bag, so I can actually crawl into it to give me that extra warmth on them really cold nights if for some reason my sleeping bag is just not doing the job. Now, earlier I mentioned having an ACU poncho. This is just an additional poncho that's lightweight because even though the ACU is great, it is kind of heavy and holds in a lot of heat, where this one allows my body to breathe a little bit more. It's lightweight and does the exact same thing. I paid 47 cents for this. Now, candles. Make sure you just don't get any boutique candle or whatever else. It has to say emergency candles. The reason why is because these burn very slow. Now, these candles can be used for a lot of things. They can be used as a source of light. They can be used as a cooking source. If you put 4 of these together and make a homemade stove, you can actually use the heat off of these in order to cook something small. And then a nice little heat source. It's not going to put out a lot of heat, but hey, it's better than nothing when you have nothing. Now, one thing I always recommend is get you a little box. This is a little Band-Aid box, and inside it, put fishing supplies. Let's say you've ran out of food and you've come to a water source and it's time to get more food. Then using the stuff around the environment, you are actually able to make your own fishing pole. And with this particular box full of these goodies, these fishing kits, then you're actually able to fish and collect your own food so you can sustain your life. I recommend everybody have that. It doesn't have to be elaborate. You don't have to put in Grandpa's heirloom fishing lure. Just something simple that will get it. It don't matter where you go, you're going to find worms, great bait, crickets, whatever else. So it's excellent to have that. Now, another thing I recommend is a small first aid kit. Now, earlier I told you I had a medical bag that I keep with me. Now, let's say I become separated from that bag, or I'm not where I can carry that bag. I don't want to still be in a situation where I don't have any medical supplies. So Band-Aids, creams, ointments, wraps, gauze, everything I need is still in here, in addition to my med bag. Now, not every single situation that you're bugging out for is going to be where you need to be concealed. Again, if you're camping and you got lost, you want to be noticed. So in my bug out bag, just in case, I keep an emergency vest. Make sure that it is a fluorescent color. Don't just get a plain vest, a red or blue or a light yellow. Fluorescent orange, fluorescent green, or fluorescent yellow like this. Great. If you're out in the woods, it's going to stand out like a sore thumb. Now, I recommend everybody keep a pad and pen. This particular pad is a waterproof pad, so I can write on it in the rain and it will not smudge or disappear. The reason why I say this is you never know if you've got to write something down. If you're in an emergency situation, if it's chaotic and your stress levels are up, you want to be able to remember things. So write this down. Even if it's simple as, say you're hiking and you pass by different types of landscapes that you're going to use as markers in order to find your way back. Write it down on this notepad so it's easy to remember when you're coming back. Oh, okay, I remember where that's at. Highly recommended. An additional flashlight. This particular one here, I love. It's very bright. It clips on. It's excellent. This one also comes with a magnet, so if I have anything on my bag, I can just, that's metal, I just clip on it and it holds. Now, one thing that is another crucial part is a multi-tool. I recommend everybody have this in their bag. A multi-tool, as most people know, pliers, cutters, knives, a lot of them come with a small saw. So if your knife doesn't have a saw back on it, these come in handy, so if you have to cut branches or whatever the case may be, you have it with you. Now in the military, we were taught if you use the bathroom, you dig a hole, use the bathroom in it, cover it up. 1, it covers your trail. 2, it doesn't attract wild animals. Believe it or not, your poop will attract wild animals. There's all different types of shovels. This is a basic small camping shovel. It doesn't have to be fancy, just something basic. In the military, we were issued e-tools. They're a little bit bigger, and they're better for attaching to the outside of your gear. But this one I like because I can actually pack it away on the inside. Now, if I'm out in a cold environment, let's say I'm having to bug out in the winter, it's always great to have hand warmers. Because, quite frankly, if it's cold, you do not want to get hypothermia. Sometimes just climbing in a blanket is not enough. You're not producing enough body heat sometimes. These will do great wonders, especially if you're having to move and you're still trying to stay warm. Put these in your socks, put them in your pockets, in your gloves, whatever else to help you stay warm. Now, this particular video is for any situation why you would want to bug out. But let's say if you're hiking or you're doing it for a survival, SHTF type deal, having a map of your area, especially the area where you'll be at, is very important. You can look at the map, look at the elevations. You want one that does show elevations, okay? Don't just go to some 7-Eleven and pick up a map off the side, because it's not going to show you the proper elevations. But you want a map so you know where you're going and where you're at. I prefer a laminated map, especially one that will fold up, because if it's raining, you don't want to be able to ruin your map where you can't use it for future uses because it's soaking wet, ripped and tear, so forth. The next item, everybody's seen them because a lot of people wear them, the paracord bracelets. Again, with the paracord here, if you need something really quick, you have it right there. I recommend everybody, when they're in a bug out situation, having one on them being worn and one in their gear. You can never have too much rope. I don't care what anybody says. An additional knife, especially a hunting knife or a protection knife, you want that with you. If people try to rob your shelter, your safety shelter of supplies, let's say in case of an economic downfall, not all people will do this, but if you're proactive and you're there to protect your family and your supplies, you want to protect yourself from bandits. Same thing with wild animals. If a bear or a coyote or whatever else comes up, you want to be able to protect yourself, because 9 out of 10 times you're going to have your firearm with you. But let's say if that one chance that you don't, or you can't grab it quick enough, having that is always a great source, and it allows your family to have an option of a secondary weapon. Batteries are very crucial. Make sure you have extra batteries. If your items take AA, AAA, and C, get those. Make sure you have what you have, preferably the rechargeable ones, so that way you can get a solar charger, put your batteries in there, and constantly have whatever it is, whether it's your phone, whether it's your camera, whether it's your radios for communication, whatever it may be, so you can still have it powered up regardless of how long you've been out and about. Now, I love this thing right here. I got about 10 packs of these for $12, and it's magnesium powder. Sprinkle a little bit of this on your Kindle, and it will help when you do your sparks, whether the flint, whatever else, it will help start a fire and get it going really quick. One bag is all you really need. You might throw in two. It's all your prerogative, what you want. And then last but not least in this group is have some type of bug spray. As everybody knows with the news and media, mosquitoes, ticks, fleas, all these things out there are now carrying disease. And that's the last thing you want to do, is do all this work to try to survive just to fall short because of some bug attacking you. So always have some type of mosquito repeller or bug repellent. This particular one protects up to 10 hours per spray. So this is excellent. This is for ticks, gnats, biting flies, chiggers, and fleas. Make sure you get this. This is absolutely crucial. So this is the survival and sustainment of the bag. Stay tuned with this and we'll continue on with the last step of our bag. Alrighty, we are now at the smallest part of your bug out bag, but don't let it fool you, it's still very important. And there's a couple items that I forgot in the last part that I'm going to go ahead and add here. Even though you're out in the wild or you're out in a survival situation, don't let your hygiene and your personal care go to waste, because that brings in health problems, it brings in physical problems. There's a lot of things that will contribute by not taking care of yourself even in these situations. You see these guys that are on TV that are just dingy and dirty, and they claim to be out for months at a time and never had to worry about taking care of themselves. Understand this. When they get done, they're going back to a fancy hotel. They're getting cleaned. They're getting health treatment to fix whatever they didn't do while out there. They're getting paid to be looking like that. In reality, you have to maintain your hygiene, your health, and your self-embodiment. So, you want a hygiene kit. There's all different ways to do it. You can have it in its own personal bag or pouch. It just depends. The first thing is toothpaste and toothbrush. Now they have camping toothbrushes that are a lot smaller than this. They're about that tall and fit right in the case. They're sealed, they're away from the elements, but you still need to maintain your oral hygiene. You can also take a small bottle of mouthwash. You can go to Walmart in their travel section and get all these items for next to nothing. Now me personally, I would like to use toilet paper for as long as I can before I have to worry about any type of leaks. So I always take a roll of toilet paper. This will probably last me about maybe a week's time. I have it really compact in there. So have toilet paper with you. If you can, put it in some type of sealable bag or a container or a Ziploc baggie, so that way you don't have to worry if your items are in the elements. You don't have to worry about it getting ruined. That's kind of a bummer. You go to wipe your butt thinking that you got toilet paper and find out it's ruined. You got to use leaves. Also, bars of soap. If you stay at hotels, these come a dime a dozen. Walmart, Walgreens, next to nothing. This particular bar cost me 15 cents. That's all it is. Now, you're not always going to be by a water source in order to bathe yourself or to wash a cut. And you don't want to waste your life source, the water, until you can get to a new water source. So carrying a small bag of wipes, baby wipes, cleansing wipes, whatever it is very important. This right here comes with 30 pre-moistened wipes, and I paid $1 for it, and I keep 2 of these inside my bug out bag. Now here you'll see 2 bottles with duct tape on them. What I have in here is rubbing alcohol and hydrogen peroxide. They have so many different uses. Hydrogen peroxide obviously has to deal with the medical end. So does rubbing alcohol, but at the same time, rubbing alcohol makes an excellent fire starter, especially if you make a homemade wick. It's a great way to soak and start that particular wick. Then I carry some form of shampoo and conditioner with me. This is an all-in-one. And these bottles here I got from Walmart, and I paid about 26 cents a bottle for them. They're excellent. They have snap-on tops, so I don't have to worry about dirt or any grime getting inside it. Baby powder is very important. You're going to need this for your shoes, for whatever, to prevent from blisters, from chafing, from rashes, and any other things that's caused by heavily compacted stored sweat. Very important. And then of course, deodorant. You still want deodorant because there's a lot of sweat that packs in there. The last thing you want to do is get some type of boil or bump or whatever the case may be full and compacted with all that sweat. So you still want to again maintain your health and your embodiment by these items. Now, another thing that you'll need, I recommend everybody having this. This is from LA Police Gear. You can get it anywhere. It is a pocket trauma pack. This has all the supplies in there in case you've experienced a traumatic fall, cut, whatever the case may be, with wraps, gauze, with blood clot powder. It's got everything you need. The only thing this particular one does not carry is a tourniquet. Now, I would not get a tourniquet for your kid unless you know and have been trained on what to do, because an improper use of a tourniquet could result to a loss of a limb. Last but not least, the 2 items is, one, I like to keep some type of oil with me, preferably like a gun oil, because with your tools being used, you're out in the elements. This is a great source to deal with your knives, your multi-tool, your hinges, your buckles on your bags, whatever the case may be. And if you carry a firearm, you'll want this oil with you. Small, I paid $3 for this. It's not a big cost, but it is a big help. And then finally is, if you're proactive or if you want to be concealable to hide yourself and your family for safety, then you'll want some type of face camouflage. We'll do a video later on the proper use and application for camouflage, and that way you know, because there is a right and a wrong way. There's all different types of camouflage, from the stick to the tubes to the little, almost what I call makeup compactors, where you take your fingers, rub it, and then put it on your face. Similar to what my buddy calls as clown paint, but for the military. So that is the last of the items in the bug out bag. You can critique what you have in there to fit your needs. Some stuff you may feel that you don't need. Some stuff you may feel that you need added on to it. This is your bug out bag. You decide what you want and fix it accordingly to your family's needs. Now, there's one item that I do have to say that I don't have here because I don't use, and that is medications. Okay? If you take medicine, make sure you have an ample amount properly sorted in your bug out bag for each family member that takes medicine. Make sure you have those. If your kids or yourself has an inhaler, buy an extra inhaler and get one put in your bug out bag just in case. If you have allergies, say from bug stings or whatever else, your injectors, make sure you have that in there with your bug out as an extra just in case. Because the last thing you want to do is grab your bug out bag, get out in the elements trying to survive, and realize you forgot your medicine or your injector or your inhaler and you don't get too far at all. So make sure you have that. I appreciate y'all tuning in and watching this video, all your comments and all your support. And as always, stay safe, be smart, stay alive, and God bless. Again, this is K9 with ETX Tactical and Survival.
She was born in my